something a bit more my pace. I'm painting the boards for the next stage of the disablement conversion. 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of gloss. Just because it's temporary doesn't mean it shouldn't be proper. Well, I've got it in my thoughts. Thank all the kind messages from strangers on YouTube. I'll try to read everything that everybody writes, but not much will happen in the way of replies, but I will read everything. Obviously, if there's 10 million viewers, no I won't, but for now, yes. It couldn't be more difficult for my vision, the total white monochrome. It's almost impossible for me to actually see properly, but touch and method, I think I've done quite a reasonable job. But I was supposed to be telling you a story, wasn't I? I'll finish this, find somewhere quiet. So here on a lovely day on the Catriona, cleaning has been done by the admirable Erica. I usefully stayed out the way. You see me wearing my, though it's worn, my normal hat. It's not a hat, it's a brain cuddle. The first of my crewmen has joined the boat. There it is. He's been a bit squashed, but we'll soon knock him into shipshape. Now, you may ask yourself how I come to be living this strange life that I'm living at the moment in a boatyard in Falmouth, with a glass thingy in my head, and talking with a completely new accent that I've never had before. This is not my normal voice. Well, it's a very good question. It happened like this. I was minding my own business. I was living quite a quiet life, mainly in this same boatyard where I am now. I was taking life quiet. The life before that life had been quite a dark one, and I needed a bit of self-repair. Well, my life never stays quiet for long. Something is bound to happen. It's my karma. The alien egg that had been laid in my brain late that summer has started to show itself. To begin with, I find myself being more forgetful. I didn't think too much. I let things happen in my life. It's just another thing. But I had started commenting to people, and I'd become, even from my normal fantastic forgetfulness, I was really forgetful. But I had this feeling that something was wrong, instinct, you know. I felt that a new life was starting. You get that feeling, you know. You can tell after a while. So I made my way to the other side of the country to stay with a friend in Kent, not so far from London. I made my way there all right. I was definitely being affected by this point. Speech motor control was down about 1/3 of the time. I couldn't speak whatsoever by that point. My vision was still fine. So a week passed at my friend's place. To begin with, it seemed to have got better, if anything. A change of variety probably helped, who knows. But there came, after a few days, I couldn't sleep for a whole night and day afterwards. And then the next day, I slept the night and the whole day and the night again. When I wake up the next morning, I was half blind as I am now, and speech control was gone completely. I could walk around and sit down, but I seemed to have no ability to take any action of any use. I made my way down to the kitchen table and sat. My friends are there. I basically had 2 options. One was to go to a hospital, and the other was to sit there until I died. Those were basically my 2 options. I opted for the ambulance. Unfortunately, I couldn't communicate in the slightest, not even by sign language. I was just stuck. So for some time, I sit at the kitchen table waiting for communication to come back. Finally, a little patch of speech control, and I managed to get 3 words out. Justin, ambulance, now. The adventure has begun. Arriving at the local hospital, I'm kept in observation at the busy A&E for a couple of hours. People keep coming round and annoying me by staring at my face and looking very worried. I responded by annoying everybody else by sneaking off constantly for a cigarette. After a while, finally, I'm in the machine. It's very comfortable, scanning me, and then it seems to go on for a very long time. They found something interesting to look at. So can I get out for a cigarette, I say? No. What? I've been captured by doctors. So this is the next day. It's a Sunday, I think. I'm transferred to a big hospital in London, King's College Hospital. My memories on that day are very intermittent, just from sections. I remember arriving. I couldn't have a cigarette. I tried. Someone had sensibly confiscated my lighter and tobacco. I remember lying in a gigantic scanner, humming away, and I was there for a very, very long time. And I remember it was so comfortable. I was very restful. And I remember signing my consent for operation. I was 90% blind by this time. I remember the last thing being wheeled into the theatre and all the people and being nosy, checking it all out. And it's time to pass out. I wake up. I'm in a bed. It's a hospital. I look past. I look around. My friend is there, as he would be. Go away, go away, go! Ah! I've gone into total shock. Now for 2 days, I have no memory whatsoever after that. I wake up, bright and chipper. I know what's happening. I'm in a hospital. It's because I was bleeding to death in my brain. That's what I think is happening. A belief I stuck to for a week onwards. No matter what anybody told anybody, my version of the situation was better than other people's version. In other people's version, I have a tumour in my head. In my version of reality, my brain was bleeding, they fixed it, and I'm absolutely fine now, thank you. When there was a change of doctors, and the new doctors would do their rounds, obviously they're only mainly seeing the people they've got something to say to, but everyone comes to look at the strange guy. But of course, they've come to see the guy that had wandered in with the giant tumour, who has no idea what's going on. The lovely nurse is there. Hello, lovely Nick, she says. Well, I am Nick, and I am lovely. So I would be called that, wouldn't I? It's not because I'm lovely. I've spent 2 days shouting, swearing, and being extremely rude to absolutely everybody. Unable to bear any noise, light, sound, any input is overwhelming me. I tell the nurses, get out, I'm busy, get out of my room. So I'm in 24/7 observation, but my observer has to sit outside my room with the door ajar, in the dark, in the silence. So the staff were lovely, and I think they must have a tough job in the head injuries and brain unit, frankly. A week later, when I could read to some extent again, I find in my phone a large number of phone calls have occurred. I have no memory of that whatsoever, but my friends tell me I was speaking in a very thick Russian accent at the time. My teeth have fallen to a disastrous state, the bane of my life, my teeth. One of the canines was very loose, so I extracted that. But then what to do with it when there was no bin? So I put the canine under the pillow, and the tooth fairy took it away. I'm not quite sure what they made of that. But no surprise, I was referred for emergency dental treatment. That resulted in a very tiny dentist ripped out my remaining 14 teeth. Most of them just fell out, frankly, but some put up a better fight. They were a danger to me, apparently. So now I have no teeth, not one. I'm so happy. The teeth have been so much trouble to me. I feel like I've beaten them. I've outlived my teeth. Coming round more to myself, and my memory log begins again, my only concern is, of course, to get a cigarette. It's time for my jailer to appear, the occupational therapist. I can go out for a cigarette, but first I need to tell her, what is my name, what is the name of this place that you're in, and what year is it? Well, I had my name, so that was good. King House Garage, and there's 20... No. Okay, no worries. Tomorrow. No. House Queen Hotel. No. Day 3 comes. You can imagine the situation's becoming desperate for me. I've scattered the entire ward. Is locked, as it sensibly should be. None of the windows will open far enough. All the fire doors have alarms. I've scattered the whole place looking for an escape route, but there's no chance. They're way ahead of me. So day 3 of my battle against the jailer, I've asked somebody the answers and practiced all morning. I knew she'd come after lunch. I'm ready for her. I'm ready for you. So it's total blank. Absolutely nothing. But finally the next day, I know the name of the place. King's College Hospital. But the word hospital is still difficult for me to get out for some reason. But I was free. I'm let out. I have my first cigarette. Whew. Okay, it's all going to be okay. The world outside looks utterly amazing to me. I see there's a tree and it just fills me with its leaves and its colours and its life. It's like I've never seen a tree before. A bus goes by. It fascinates me. It's like I've never seen a bus. Wow, bus. Look, a taxi. Security man. Look at those people. A bird goes by. Amazing. My world is full of wonders. Everything. And I still keep some of that sense of wonderment at everything that I see around me since. Having chain smoked 5 cigarettes, time to make my way back and navigate my way back to my bed. I come to the door. There's a sign. I can't really read it, but I'm pretty sure it says no entry. Well, for me, no entry. Okay, well, I'm completely foxed. I have no idea what to do. I'm standing there looking lost. Oh no, security are coming. Full of anxiety, I show them my tag. I'm quite worried they might send me away. Of course, nobody's looking at my tag. They're looking at the horrific side of my head, half-shaved, with a scar looking like I've lost a fight with a great white. The security man laughs at me. You can use any door you like, he says. You're a VIP. You can use any door you like. Let me help you home. Having mastered smoking and knowing where I am, the decision to send me home to my friends on the Saturday and get me in a better environment for recovery. On the Friday was my big conference where various people in ties and dicky bows would discuss my lump that had been removed. Of course, the decisions and news is as bad as it could humanly have been possible. So, as I'm still suffering in total shock at this time, still living in a temporary reality whereby I'm fine, actually, the decision is to hold off trying to convince me again until a few days later. So I'm back at my friend's, still believing I'm fine. I rush straight up to the study, switch on the computer, load my game. I can still play. I can only see half the screen at once, but I can play. It's all going to be fine. I know it'll be good. My recovery begins properly. By the time I have my conference call, because of course with COVID, I accept reality. I was ready. Having rejoined the real world, my recovery was swift. Having lost my normal speech during the operation and come out of the operation with a thick Russian accent, I relearned to speak properly. A completely new accent that I've never had before. It seems that my brain has invested its effort in giving me this posh, eloquent voice. For the first month, I'm quite a hyper person. It's like mania plus. I'm only getting 2 hours, maybe 3 hours sleep every night, waking up instantly, totally awake, and my mind's whizzing constantly, thoughts. My mind is busy trying to deal with everything. And I'm a bit of a loud and hectic person. So the time comes with my consultant to have the big talk. 2.5 hours. We cover all the ground. Treatment, really not very encouraging. I could have asked for treatment, you have that right as it were, but really for my 6 months I could hope for the most all-out treatment would have bought me between 0 and 3 more months, but reduce my quality of life to absolute zero, possibly reduce me to infantile level and various other negative factors. It wasn't a very tempting prospect. So I accept reality once more and move to palliative care. And that's the end of doctors for me. So after a week with my friend in Kent, I'd made my way back to Cornwall. And with the lockdown crashing down upon us once more again, it was time for me to make my way to the boatyard. It's kind of like I've been struck sane by the operation. And in fact, this is perhaps the best period I've had for 20 years in myself. The life I'm living now is a good life, and I'm enjoying myself. Why not?